Robert Chun had seen many things in his 58 years, but the sight of the young woman huddled against the storefront that rainy November evening stopped him cold. She couldn't have been more than 22, maybe 23. Her thin sweater clung to her frame, soaked through from the downpour. Her jeans were torn at the knees, not from fashion but from wear. She sat with her arms wrapped around herself, trembling violently, her wet brown hair plastered to her pale face. Robert had just left a business dinner. He was tired, ready to go home to his comfortable apartment and his routine. But something about this girl wouldn't let him walk past. He crouched down beside her, careful not to startle her. "Miss, are you all right?" She looked up at him with eyes that held more exhaustion than fear. "I'm fine," she whispered, though her shaking body told a different story. Robert shrugged off his coat, without thinking. "Here, please take this." She hesitated, then accepted it gratefully, pulling it around her shoulders. "Thank you," she said quietly. "You didn't have to do that." "There's a diner 2 blocks down," Robert said gently. "Let me buy you something hot to eat, get you warmed up." The girl studied his face for a long moment, as if weighing whether to trust him. Finally, she nodded. In the bright fluorescent lights of the diner, Robert got his first real look at her. Despite the circumstances, there was something refined about her features. Something almost familiar, though he couldn't place it. Over soup and coffee, she told him her name was Emma. She'd come to the city 6 months ago, looking for work. Things hadn't gone as planned. She'd lost her job, then her apartment. She'd been on the streets for 3 weeks. "What about family?" Robert asked. "Is there someone who could help?" Emma's expression darkened. "No family. My mother passed away 2 years ago. It was just the 2 of us." Something in her voice when she said mother made Robert's chest tighten. "I'm sorry," he said. "That must have been very difficult." Over the next few weeks, Robert found himself thinking about Emma constantly. He went back to that street corner, hoping to see her again. When he finally did, he made her an offer. "I have a small guest house behind my property," he said. "It's just sitting empty. You could stay there while you get back on your feet. No strings attached." Emma's eyes filled with tears. Why would you do this for a stranger? Robert thought about that question. He thought about the choices he'd made in his life, the roads not taken. "Maybe I'm trying to get something right," he said quietly. Emma moved into the guest house the next day. Robert helped her find work at a friend's bookstore. Slowly, she began to rebuild her life. They fell into an easy routine, having dinner together twice a week, talking about books and music and life. It was during one of these dinners that Emma asked about his past. "Were you ever married?" she asked. Robert shook his head. "Came close once a long time ago. 24 years ago, actually. Her name was Catherine. We were together for about a year." "What happened?" "I got scared," Robert admitted. "I was 34, building my career, not ready for the commitment she wanted. So I ended it and took a job overseas. Spent 2 years in Singapore. By the time I came back, she'd moved away. I never saw her again." Emma had gone very still. "Catherine," she repeated softly. "What was her last name?" "Morrison." "Why?" Emma stood up abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. Her face had gone pale. "I need to show you something." She disappeared into the guest house and returned moments later with a small photograph. Her hands trembled as she held it out to him. Robert took the photo. It showed a woman in her 40s, clearly ill, sitting in a hospital bed. But it was her face that made his heart stop. Those eyes, that smile. "Catherine, this is my mother," Emma said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Catherine Morrison. She died of cancer 2 years ago." The room seemed to tilt. Robert looked from the photo to Emma, really seeing her for the first time. The shape of her eyes, the line of her jaw, his own features reflected back at him. "She never told you about me, did she?" Emma said, tears streaming down her face. "She found out she was pregnant a week after you left for Singapore. She tried to reach you, but you'd already gone. She raised me alone. She never blamed you. She said you didn't know, and it wouldn't be fair to tell you after so many years." Robert couldn't speak. His mind reeled with the weight of what he'd lost, the years he could never get back. "Before she died," Emma continued, her voice breaking, "she told me about you, your name, that you'd lived in this city. I came here hoping to find you, but I didn't know how. I didn't even know if you'd want to know me. Then I lost everything, and I thought maybe it was a sign that I should just give up." Robert stood and pulled Emma into his arms. "I would have wanted to know you," he said fiercely. "I would have wanted to know both of you. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I wasn't there." They held each other and cried, father and daughter, finding each other through a coat given on a rainy night. In the months that followed, they built something new together. Robert couldn't change the past, couldn't give Emma back the childhood she deserved. But he could give her a future. He could give her a father's love, even if it came 2 decades late. Sometimes the universe offers us a second chance, wrapped in circumstances we never could have imagined. Sometimes kindness to a stranger is really kindness to yourself, to the family you didn't know you'd lost. Robert had walked past that storefront 100 times before, but that night in the rain, something made him stop. Something made him see. And in seeing her, he finally saw himself. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment below telling us about a time when a small act of kindness changed everything. Your story might inspire someone else today.